ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another conversation with Curious Minds. I'm Rashmi Furtado, and I have two more curious minds with me here today. Many will have many different descriptions for Tata Crucible, but for me, it's a celebration of knowledge enthusiasts. Today with me are two such knowledge enthusiasts, Raghav and Sachin. Both of them have been Tata Crucible national champions from 2012. Yes, it's been a long time, but they have had an amazing journey since then. They were a part of Symbiosis Law School, if I'm not wrong, back then when they won the national championship. And from there, they have gone on to become entrepreneurs, and they have started their own quizzing and knowledge services company where they provide different services relating to knowledge. Let's get to know them here today. Sachin and Raghav, thank you so much for joining us. So let's start. I want to dive straight into the conversation, all right? How was it to emerge as the national champions back then?
Right. So Rashmi, for us, I still remember so first year in my law school, I participated. We came to the finals and came third in a tiebreaker. Second year, we did not get I didn't get qualified to the finals. It was in the third, and after that, in a very disappointed state, Sachin and I, Sachin was not my quiz partner then. Both of us came, in a cafe, we met and we were like, hey, we really need to do well in Tata Crucible. I still remember there was almost that thing. It was almost like a pursuit to say, hey, we should go out and give our best at the quiz. And from that second year to having won the quiz in the third year was a pursuit that we completely enjoyed. It was like climbing a small mountain of success. We got qualified for the finals, we came runners up, and then we happened to win it in the last year. So it was a great sense of accomplishment. And I think those small wins give you so much confidence to take up. So in many ways, it did give that sense of push to, take risk at some level.
Sachin, what about you?
No, Rashmi, when I think about it, I think the phrase that good things take time, right? The first, in my 5 years of studying in college and also having the chance to participate in Tata Crucible, in the first year, I really didn't, in fact, participate at all because it's not something that kind of came in my my headspace at the time. But when Raghav and me ended up becoming a team in my second year, so it was a very it was a pursuit that took a fair amount of time. The first quiz, we teamed up. There was a fair amount of preparation, effort that we put in. It was the kind of quiz we were leading till the last round, and in the last round, something happened, and then we were like, hey, how did we end up losing this, right? So, like all things that really take time and effort, every quiz was a lot of journey, a lot of pursuit, a lot of effort that we put in. And in Raghav's fourth year, final year, and my fourth year when we won the national finals, even in that grand finale, the questions that were asked, we were tied for the first place, and there was a tiebreaker that took, I think, 6 to 7 questions in the tiebreaker itself. And interestingly, the answer was a condom. So I think you can trust. So that was in my fourth year. So in my fifth year, when again there's another teammate, his name is Nikhil Joy, also currently a lawyer. So Nikhil Joy and we teamed up. So what I realized was all that effort of the first 3-4 years, right? I think it paid off in the fourth and fifth year for me, and that's what really comes to me. I think great things take time, and you don't really get a lot of things going your way in the first couple of instances, but then it kind of pays its course in the course of time.
Tell us more about this journey.
Usually say quizzing is a mother to what quizzing really gave us was a sense of validation, identity in school and college, and it was also something which acted as a great tool to build confidence. It fueled that curiosity to know more, to learn more. It had a lot of qualities that risk-taking. In a buzzer question, you don't know whether you know the answer or not, but you back yourself to go for it. So lots of life lessons that we learned being part of, pursuing quizzing. So while in college, we started teaching children in local schools in Pune, in law school. And that was the first starting point of, let's say, and we got paid for it as well. And many children, interestingly, who we trained went on to be champions of TCSIT quiz in Pune. So all of those small wins gave us the confidence saying that, hey, quizzing is a great tool for learning and engagement. how can we scale what quizzing gave us to more number of people was probably the strong inspiration to do it. So yeah, after 2 years into a corporate job, Sachin and I think took the plunge, saying it's now or never. In fact, let me tell you one more point. When we started off, in fact, we reached out to Giri, and he gave us like at least a 2 or 3 hour. Let me say, he's very gracious to give us his life lessons through this journey, and very grateful for that as well.
Sachin, anything you have to add to that?
Yeah, I think very fortunate, I think, Rashmi, and privileged that, this pursuit and passion of quizzing that I inadvertently chanced upon in school in grade 4 and 5, right? You just end up reading a bunch of books and you read it because you're so engrossed and loving the process of reading something. And later just going to one event and realizing, hey, just something that you remember that you learned reading or just kind of enjoyed reading, you get rewarded for just remembering some small details. So I think that start for me is really what inspired me to kind of keep putting more effort into quizzing, and it built a host of kind of skills for me. So for Raghav and I, our thinking was, hey, if this gave so much to us as personalities, as individuals, to go ahead and kind of, pursue various interests, we thought, hey, can we do this for other children? And one more kind of narrative I wanted to bring into perspective, Rashmi, is I think when you participate in a quiz like Tata Crucible, right, you end up reading about so many inspirational stories of business leaders, entrepreneurs, how they started up and how they kind of had to go through the grind of pursuing entrepreneurship. I think in a manner of speaking, that's been like one unsaid narrative in both our minds, I'd like to believe, because you read so much about these people, it inspires you to want to kind of also pursue a kind of similar journey. And the fact that it came with something that we were very passionate about and fortunate to be so great at as well was how I think starting a business in college was something that we did. And so yeah, working with children was one direct sort of thing that we wanted to do because it did so much for us as school children and as college students. And conducting events, which like how we saw Giri and all the kind of inspirational folks that we saw around us, we thought, hey, there is a market, there is something to do around this and build a niche for ourselves. And yeah, I think very, very grateful to Giri. That's the first thing that we did. Giri, we're going to be doing this. And what I really appreciate is at that time, he must have a lot of people coming to him for his time, right? And he didn't at any point in time kind of belittle that sort of journey that we had. He was like, hey, this is what these kids want to do. Let's give them their time and really build it out. And that was such a great amount of inspiration for us to kind of pursue this journey that we're on. So really grateful for that as well.
So you're absolutely right when it comes to, these things. Okay, so you guys have been technically on both the sides, right? You've been quizzers yourselves. You have taught children, technically your teachers as well. You've taught children, may not be for the core subjects, but you have been. You train children for quizzing and you conduct quizzes also. So I think it's fair that I ask you, how do you think quizzing has evolved for so many years? You have been quizzing from when you were children. I mean, we were having a conversation earlier and you guys told me that you have been quizzing since your school days, right? So how do you think quizzing has evolved over the years?
Yeah. So, Rashmi, I think, as kids, we used to participate in, there's this very important organization in Bangalore called Karnataka Quiz Association. And, they used to have, the slides in screen projected on it, etc. Like, old wireframes, audio clips being played through cassettes, etc. Right? From that to what we see today, where we are conducting quizzes on an online platform, there is also this whole thing about, having to participate in an inclusive level, right? So we run a huge quizzing community for families. And we see families coming together and participating as well. So one idea that I want to bring out is technology is enabled for that inclusivity. So you can sit at any part of the country, participate in a quiz or watch a quiz, right? So that has really kind of enabled it and essentially participate. You could watch it on TV, but you'd still not have the joy of participating. So technology has probably democratized that aspect. With it comes a lot of problems of people copying, etc. But those are ancillary. But that, I think, is one major theme that I see. Different formats that have come in is the other thing, right? Like, those are two top of mind evolution, at least narratives that I see. Sachin?
So The one point I, of course, wanted to bring out in line with what Raghav said was the access that has come about with technology and the proliferation of technology. I think people from different geographies, whether from a tier 1 geography or a tier 4 geography, are able to see the same platform, same content. And that's a source of inspiration for them to say, hey, I want to partake in this process. I think that's the first thing I feel has been the evolution of this form of consumption of content, which is quizzing. The second thing is, if you notice, Rashmi, in any sort of content format, right, there is, whether you're sharing something on WhatsApp, whether it's my parents sharing something on WhatsApp, or if it's something that you share on social media, there is this intrinsic motivation to share something that many people don't know about, or something which is a little unique, a little curious. So I think every single individual, I think right now, there is a way that they're harnessing that curiosity, right? Which is to share something that, they probably, there's a movie like Ponniyin Selvan that's right now in the theaters. So I see a host of videos my family is sharing on the kind of content or interesting things about the lyrics or about the histories of the cholas. So for me, what I see as the evolution of quizzing is not just purely in the form of just a question and a story that people have to answer, but in the way that different people consume content and are sharing it to kind of harness that curiosity that they have. In some forms, it becomes competitively sort of performed in the form of a quiz competition. And as a result of the family quiz as well, so many other people coming in, participating, not just for winning, but for learning and for kind of showcasing something that they learned and want to share, right? So that I think has been my sort of personal experience. It's not just to know an answer and win a prize, but mostly to share something interesting and to share it to the world. So that's what I would say is how, along with technology access and this sort of evolution, that I personally notice.
All right. So quizzing still looks like or comes across as a male-dominated sport. And why? Second question from me would be, what can we do to motivate more girls to take part in activities and engagements like quizzes? I mean, you guys, like I said, are technically teachers, so more number of kids taking part, the better. I completely understand what you're saying. I think more number of women should set an example to the girls out there. Right, so let's move on. In any way, I want to know if Tata Crucible, or how has Tata Crucible experience helped you in your journey or in your startup journey?
For fun, the prize money we won from Tata Crucible acted as seed money for starting Walnut and Kyushala. So I think that itself is like a big kind of this one. And I think after that, the credibility that the Tata Crucible brings to you whenever people introduce us or so on, right? And I think it's something that we carry forward with a lot of pride. Even with clients and so on, saying, hey, these are former Tata Crucible champions. It strikes a bell, India's largest campus quiz winners. So that credibility has truly played a bedrock of foundation for us at Kyushala, at least for Sachin and me. So those two come to mind as the thing. And of course, a lot of lessons that we have learned has given us that confidence to say, hey, don't give up. So there's lots of resilience that we've built being part of that quiz pursuit and winning Tata Crucible, and that's also something that keeps us going when the tides are down and up, etc.
Sachin?
Yeah, I think in line with what Raghav said, I think credibility and signaling in terms of your capability and competence is almost the first thing anyone's kind of doing in any sort of professional context, right? So that's really gone a long way for us. In fact, another realization, Rashmi, is I think in terms of the people that you want to work with as well, I think a company like Tata's, I can't fathom the amount of investment and effort, right from at the school level where there's the TCS ITVs and what you have in terms of Tata Crucible and the reach that it has for colleges and for corporates. It kind of tells us that there is a certain kind of company that you want to work with. So companies that have the sort of inclination to want to invest in this sort of endeavor, which has not necessarily overnight sort of benefits, but long-lasting generational impact, right? Is I think one more realization that comes away from kind of having been at this journey, spending time and hacking at it. So yeah, that's another small insight or realization that came to me when I thought about this question.
All right. So my last question is going to be a rapid fire for both of you. I mean, it has to be, right? Both of you are national champions, so I have to do that. Raghav, I'll start with you. I have 3 pointers or 3 technically phrases or words or whatever that I have for you. I need you to describe it for me in one word. So your time starts now, Raghav. The first one, Tata Crucible.
Gratitude,
Big brain.
humility,
Tata Group.
respect.
Wonderful. Very nice. Sachin, with you, the same thing. First one, Tata Crucible.
Journey comes to mind.
Big brain.
Inspiration.
Tata Group.
Trust.
Wonderful. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for making time and joining this conversation. Sachin, you too, thank you so much for being here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation with Curious Minds. And you will join us again for the next episode of Conversations with Curious Minds. Believe me, we have many more interesting conversations coming up. So I will see you in the next episode. You take care.